First of all, thank you everybody who's watching the show tonight from YouTube. Please, 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 if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the show. We are this close to monetizing the show, and once we monetize, we'll be able to bring even more amazing benefits to the authors we support every week. So please, please, please go and subscribe to the page. It won't cost you nothing. So go ahead and do that. Second of all, I do want to let you know that there are, believe it or not, only two slots left for Black History Month Literary Weekend 2026. We will be celebrating our 10th anniversary in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I really want you to be there. So if you are an author and you would like to take part in this amazing, amazing event, just message me and I'll send you the information. But there are only two slots left. So hopefully you're going to be one of those two. Now, on August 18th, or whatever the Monday is after August 15th, we will be announcing the authors who will be a part of Black History Month Literary Weekend. So I hope to be able to say your name as well. Now, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Mr. Marvin Bryson. He was actually a featured author with the Black History Month Literary Weekend back in 2018, which was the third year of the event. So we've known each other for quite a while. Hello, Marvin. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Ron, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. It's good to see you again.
It's great to be seen. Really great to be seen. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to tell the audience, I've been at this for a long time. And one of my favorite phrases is you got to separate the contenders from the pretenders. And you and I met at the NAACP, no, it was the Black Caucus, Congressional Black
Yes, the
Caucus.
Black Caucus.
You and I talked in October, and you had me down in New Orleans on your show that spring. So, so you're a real one. And then again, had me back a couple years later for the Arthur Showcase. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, your story deserved to be told. I mean, the book that you were promoting at that time was about caregivers.
Right.
And I think sometimes, we think about the people that we're caring for, but we sometimes forget about the health and well-being of the person who's doing the caring.
Right.
And that can be a really stressful time for that person. So I really wanted to help you to tell that story.
Right. I appreciate that. It's really made a difference. So I've actually become a family caregiving advocate by accident, just by writing the books. Because I've actually written two caregiving books now. So, and one went through, I guess, up to assisted living. And then after my mom passed away, I did from skilled nursing all the way through palliative care. And in that second book, I definitely added a chapter about self-care because time I was writing the first book, I don't even know if self-care was a thing, you know what I mean? Back in 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Now
I mean, it's a catchphrase now.
Right.
More people on social media are promoting self-care, but we make it look so glamorous. Self-care is going to get massages or drinking mimosas on Sunday or getting facials and things like that. But there's more to self-care than
There's
that.
a whole lot more to it. Yeah. Particularly when you're in a caregiving situation because it's really stressful. Since that point, when you're in an airplane, they say you got to put your mask on first before you help other people.
Yes.
Got you get mask on. That's something you got to learn as a caregiver. A lot of times, you just burn yourself out taking care of other people, and then you end up messing with your own health. And I can testify to that. It's really a stressful thing.
So now the book that you're promoting now is actually not about caregiving.
Oh, not
It's
at all.
actually about football.
It's fiction. Well, it's about football, but it's about what happens to most guys that play football. Most guys that play football, they go to college. They may or may not graduate, and 99% of them definitely not going to the pros. And so I wanted to tell that story. And then I also wanted to tell a story that wasn't about heroes, wasn't about these legendary coaches or these superstars or these championship teams, but this about the millions of guys who have played football over the years and how football helped them really be good people in life. When you play team sports, it teaches you how to work with other people. And to be on a
Yes.
football team, you have to have good grades. You can't be messing up in school, and you got to be disciplined. So it teaches you all those things. To me, it's like one step below military as far as just teaching you how to be a team player and how to persevere. And because it's not it's a brutal sport, and it's a little bit more civilized now. But back when I played, we talk smack about these guys like they ain't even really playing football, but they are. They still hit each other, and the guys are so much bigger, stronger, and faster now. But the book is also it's a love story. It's about it's about my lead character's dedication to this one female, this one girl. But like I said, it's all fiction. But you can't really write fiction. You got to write what you know. You can't. It's not like you can go out here and research life. You got to pull from
Right,
life
right.
experience. So the lead female lead is inspired by 3 or 4 women I dated over the years. Because I really went back to when I was 20 years old, 18, 19, 20 years old, and I'm in my 60s now. So I have a whole lot of more, I guess, mature dating experience, and then I see things differently than when I saw them then. And then the lead character is loosely based on, inspired by me, and then the lead character's best friend in the book is inspired by my best friend in real life. We're
Oh,
different sizes and we do different things, but at the end of the day, we were the germs for those particular characters. But it's definitely fiction.
I like the fact that you are focusing on the people who may not have necessarily gone pro, who didn't become superstars, because often Hollywood and probably some books to some extent, we romanticize going after that all American dream of playing football or basketball, and we think that that's our ticket out. But what happens when we don't make it? If we've put all of our hopes and dreams on making it, and then we don't make it, what's next? So it's good to
Exactly.
focus on those stories as well.
Right. Well, as you know, I have a background in film and television, and this
Yes.
this novel is actually the first screenplay I ever wrote. And I've
Oh.
been I've been writing screenplays like 20, 25 years now. And so what I tell a lot of the young people, our newer screenwriters, is first of all, most people try to cover too much ground in their first screenplay. They overwrite and they use too much exposition. Now, exposition is fine in literature, but it's not fine in visual storytelling. And so I'm a paralegal, and I did a lot of business writing. So what I had to do when I became a creative writer was to basically realize I could break rules, and it's more about having people kind of touch, feel, taste. You want to put people in the scene so they feel the emotions of it. But ironically enough, with it being my first screenplay and with all those other elements I just mentioned, it rolled right out into a novel pretty easily. And I'm not gonna say easily, but it wasn't yeah, easily. I say easily.
Well,
So
the story was there. You just had
mhm,
to kind of fill it in.
exactly. And it's interesting because when I finished the first draft, I just kind of felt like it wasn't complete, and so I had to come up with a whole new arc. So because it kind of ended with my lead character, and this is not really a spoiler, so it doesn't matter. Basically accepting that he's going to work in the real world, and that's pretty much where it stops. But then I time jumped 10 years to 10 years later. Like, so what happened to this guy over these 10 years of learning how to be a corporate professional? Blah blah blah. I wasn't really trying to get into that so much. Is just really just make the story feel complete. And I
Yeah.
talk to writers all the time. Writing is rewriting. I tell them that all the time. It's like we're sculptors basically. You get this brick of clay, and you just keep sculpting till it works. Because the earlier guest, when she was saying she just workshopped and workshopped and workshopped, like I was saying, the first time I touched this book, the words for this book was 2002, and it's 2025, and I'm just now getting it out to the universe because
Because we never think that it's perfect enough. We keep striving for perfection with the book,
right.
And I'm not saying just throw out some junk or just make it just good enough, but
Mhm.
we just have to accept when we've told all we can with this story. And if we keep trying to strive for perfection, we'll never make it.
Well, something that helped me. I started playing music when I was 12. Got my first paycheck playing music when I was 15, and so songs are nothing but short stories. And when you're in the
Hmm.
studio as a producer and you finish a song, right? You got to ask yourself, if I spend another hour working on this song, is it going to take it from a 9 to an 11? And am I going to spend this extra 500,000, 5,000, whatever I got to spend to move this up a notch? By me being
Yeah.
a producer, a music producer, it really helps me. I don't have a problem with that. I know when to just leave it alone. Like it's going to be what it's going to be. And then fast forward to when I started my visual media career as a film editor. Same thing.
Hmm.
You could edit forever. So you gotta find a place to be comfortable with your narrative, with your arc, and just be there. Because I really learned how to tell stories, being an assistant film editor on Law and Order, because people don't understand, like the original version of the story is the script. Then what the director shoots is the second rewrite, and then the third rewrite of the script is what the editor edits. And
Mm.
editors save bad stories all the time. I mean, a lot of people don't give these. You see that film editor come up on your TV screen? Give that person some props, because I'm telling you, they are the ones that shape what you are seeing. But most people, they just see the actors, and they think the actors wrote what they're saying, or whatever. So, but that's really where I learned how to tell a story. I mean, I've really learned how to this 3 act structure, stock characters, all that type of stuff. And
You know,
so, yeah, I mean, I love to write,
what I
and
was just. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can finish.
no, you got. I'm finished. Yeah. I'm,
Oh.
I'm finished. Can I answer your question? I'm sorry. I know I'm a little long winded
Oh,
sometimes.
okay. No, well, I was just going to ask. Well, I was going to mention. I had this conversation last week where I was saying that sometimes I think writing a movie script is actually harder than writing a full book because, as you were talking about exposition
Mhm.
earlier in the interview, we don't have all that time in a script. That script has to be done in like 60 to 90 pages at the
Right.
most.
Hmm.
And the book, I can write 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages. So I can go into all of that description if I want to, but I can't do that
Right.
in a script. And sometimes that's harder because I feel like I need them to understand what was going on in this scene, but I can't expand on that.
Yeah. Well, basically, uh, like you were saying, they use this screenwriting software. It's called Final Draft, basically. And
Yes.
presto magico, a page of Final Draft is a minute on screen. Don't ask me how they do it. They just do it that way. So a
Mhm.
show you see, like for example, Law and Order was 42 minutes, but we would have 64-page scripts. So the editors and producers that taught me how to tell the story, they would take 20% of the story away and still make it work, which is amazing. But feature films don't have to do that because they don't have to conform to a time. So,
Right.
because I think I might have done 300 episodes. So I've literally sat in or was part of making 200 episodes of television work. And some scripts you get are great, some scripts you get are awful. Some actors can act, some can't. And because if you ever been in an editing suite, it's brutal. They're constantly ragging on the writers, they're constantly ragging on the actors, and they're constantly ragging on the directors, saying like, who wrote this crap? Who that dude can't act, that chick can't act. Who directed this stuff? But they fix it. So I kind of learned how to tell stories by fire. And I think so many writers, so many screenwriters don't even understand that. After you finish the script, it's out of your hands. They
Right.
pay you when it's over with, unless you're some television producers. I mean, writers are also producers. But circling back to August Heat, uh, a couple years ago, a guy approached me to write a film about his life. I helped him write a script about his life. And when we started talking about it, I'm like, dude, this is too much for a film. And what you just described to me is a movie. And so this is the book that I did with I think you can see it okay. It's called The King's Path. And the thing about that book that really helped me was it was about a go-go band from DC who went out to LA in 1990 and signed with Delicious Vinyl. Okay, lo and behold, I grew up playing a little go-go, but I also lived in LA in 1990 while I was trying to get my music career going.
Marvin, what did you not do? I mean, I feel like you probably have every talent under the sun right about this time.
Well, it's not what I didn't do. I talked to my friends. I got friends that did the 20 and 20. I got friends that did 20 in the military, 20 in the government. And they say, man, I wish I'd have done what you did. I'm like, not, bro, I wish I'd have done what you did. But fundamentally, my life mantra was if I got a chance to try something new or keep doing the same thing, I'm trying something new every time. You
I
know,
love that.
I'm trying something new every time. And, God bless my daughter, Lakai, I love you to death, sweetie. And my grandchildren, Zaya and Zayed, they had to put up with, this kind of intermittent guy times. You know what I mean? Because my daughter's in her 40s now. And when she was a teenager, I was right in there. But my oldest granddaughter, for example, I was living in LA, so I didn't get to spend a lot of time with her. But my baby granddaughter, I was with her every day of her life for the first 5 years. So, everything you choose to do, it's something you're giving up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, hindsight being 2020, I don't know if I'd have done it the same way, really. But on the other hand, I have no regrets. I'm not up here worrying about, well, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? What if I tried the other? And I've had, I tell people I've done everything but get rich and famous in the game. I mean, I've been on the A list. I've been on the A list. I mean, I'm just not a household name, but most people on cruise on a household name. And I wasn't
Well,
on the A list for a month. I was on the A list for
I
years.
learned I learned that a long time ago that sometimes it's not about being that name that's out there famous because the people who are making it happen are the people behind the scenes. Many
Yeah,
of us didn't know who Nipsey Hussle was until he was unfortunately killed, and then we realized that he was the driving force behind so many people who were actually out there.
right, right.
So, I mean, sometimes it doesn't. It's not about being famous.
Yeah,
It's about being influential.
it's funny. I taught television production for a year at the Community College of Baltimore in Essex, and when I start whenever the first semester, I give the kids a primer on how to have a successful media career. And so one of my students
Mm-hmm.
asked me one day, like, Mr. Bryson, so you think you big time because you did all that stuff, right? And I had to laugh because I say there's three types of people in entertainment. You got people who want to get rich, you got people who want to get famous, and you got people who do it because they have no choice. I'm like, if I want to get rich, I would get into real estate. I would be an engineer. I would be a lawyer. I would open my own HVAC. There's many more ways and much more sustainable ways to get rich than going in entertainment. And if I
Yeah.
just want to get famous, I just do something stupid. I get my 15 minutes. So trust and believe. I've tried to walk away from this stuff. I really have. But it's
Mm.
like crack a broke back mountain or something. I can't quit you. I just keep going. I keep going back. So it's just in my soul. You know, and that's why I tell people I do it because I love it. It's who I am. You know, and unfortunately, most people don't understand it. They just because I tell people all the time if I had $1 for every person told me they was going to make an album, write a book, make a film, I would be rich for the people who didn't do it. Because it's a lot of work. It's,
Amen.
it's, it's, it's dedication. It's a whole lot of dedication. So
And I think a lot of people do get a little they get a little scared of the process, especially
right,
when they look at you because I've seen you work and you put a lot of intentionality behind everything that you do, whether it's writing, whether it's even putting together a Facebook video. There's
right,
just a lot of thought that goes into it. I
right,
mean, even the times that you came out to New Orleans, what you came out to New Orleans for me twice. One time was for the Caregiver Summit,
right,
and then you came out for the Black History Month event,
mhm,
and you still put a lot of intentionality behind both of those events.
right.
So I think sometimes people may see your process and then they may get a little intimidated.
Yeah, well, I think you said it right. Process, because what I learned, particularly when I got on the A list, was you just don't know what you don't know, because a lot of stuff is not in books. A lot you are as good as the people you are working with. If you are the smartest person or the most experienced person, you need to seek out somebody who has more experience than you. Not to say that you can't
Mm,
learn from people who don't, because I learn something new on everything I do. And I thank God for the people that I work with, because they call it the filmmaking community or the writing community for a reason. We're a community. And I think we understand each other. You know.
absolutely, absolutely. Do you have a copy of the book with you?
Oh yeah, I got a copy of all four of my books, but this is the latest book right here. And put it up. Hopefully you can see it. It's called
Yes.
August Heat, and that's actually a picture of me that I converted into a painting. That's actually me
Oh
playing for
wow.
Oxnard High School, chasing down the white guy is Charlie Pritchard. Now, Charlie was one of those guys. Charlie was a fast white dude, so don't believe white guys are slow. And then the back cover is probably my favorite. That's me, and I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's in focus or not.
No, it
But
got a little blurry on it.
yeah, well,
Bring it
it's the
closer
same
to
thing.
you. Yeah.
Okay, but anyway, that's my high school football picture with
Okay.
one of my best friend Paul, and then one of my teammates Jeff Tisdale. And because Jeff ended up going to Howard, me and Paul played at UDC, so we had that whole HBCU thing, and I talk about that
Hmm.
in the book because the HBCU experience is fundamentally different from a PDI, a PDY,
Absolutely.
so PWI, sorry, PWI.
We knew
So
what you meant.
yeah, so in any event, I'm just happy. I didn't grow up in the hood, but I didn't grow up in the projects, but I grew up kind of like in a working class neighborhood. So by the time football season was over with, all my aggression was gone. I was a linebacker, so I got to hit people for like 6 months. I ain't gonna hit nobody after that. And I tell people all the time, I haven't been in a fight since I was in 8th grade, because
Mm,
I can't see myself throwing hands at somebody over some words or something simple. And thank goodness nobody's like, done anything toward my family the way I had to jump in. But as far as this throwing down over some nonsense, that's not me. And I
right.
kind of learned that control from being a football player. But the main thing, it just taught me how to persevere. It really, because I talk about it in the book a little bit. It was a struggle for me my first 2 or 3 years. I didn't really get to start until my senior year of high school. And I ended up making, like, they call it all county, but it's basically all league, honorable mention. And then I got to go on to play college football. And because it's like, 10, say just for giggles, it's like 10 million guys who play high school, five,
Hmm.
say 3 million that play all levels of college, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. And there's only like 3,000
Hmm.
pros. So you go from like I say, 10 million to 3 million. I mean, it's plenty. I'm satisfied with my football career because there's plenty of people who dreamed about being a collegiate athlete and never was. And I got to be a collegiate athlete. So that's my thing. I mean, I find that I just feel blessed for the opportunities I've had. I just feel really lucky. You know.
Amen. I tell people often about my nephew because my nephew was a football quarterback. He was a quarterback in high school.
Right.
He was a quarterback in college, but he didn't go pro.
Right.
But and at first he was down about that, but
Mhm.
then when we had to look at it through a different lens, that perhaps football was his catalyst for getting a degree because who's to say that his parents would have been able to afford to send him to college? But because of football, he was able to go to college on a full scholarship, and he was able to get a degree while he was there, which got him a great job when he graduated.
Right.
So
Well,
football
yeah.
was kind of his way of getting that. So
Well,
sometimes we look at, I didn't go pro, I failed, but perhaps you didn't go pro because there was another purpose for you.
Well, yeah, it just wasn't in the cards. Well, first and foremost, football has really changed a lot. The reason I named this book August Heat because we started football practice on August 15th, and we did 2 days. But I guess about 10 or 15 years ago, my high school started doing like football camp, away camp. They would go somewhere for 2 weeks. And two of my old teammates, Virgil Blocker and a guy named Dwayne Welcher, they would buy the first meal for camp for the guys. And they would have 2 or 3 or 4 of us go down there and talk to the kids. And so they asked me to do that one year. And I told all the kids, if you get a scholarship and you do not graduate, you played yourself. You know, you are going to school to get an education. You know, because I know with me, I went to school in Northwest. So I was Howard, UDC, AU, GW. I run to Morgan, a Bowie. I was just too busy partying and not focusing on my work. So I just always try to tell the kids, if you're going to go through all that pain and suffering that you go through to be a football player, graduate. You know, if you don't get your degree,
Right.
you got played. You know.
Right. Well, unfortunately, we have made it to the top of the hour.
Okay, well, it's always
So,
good to talk to you.
oh, it's
You know,
always good talking with you.
because
But
you know.
remind us where we can find your book.
Okay, well, the book is available on Amazon, and you can get a paperback or an ebook. But a friend of mine pointed out to me, if you download an ebook on the Kindle, you can have
Hmm.
Alexa read it to you. So if you
Yeah.
say, Alexa, read this book, it'll read the book for you. And I didn't even realize that. Now it's Alexa's voice. It's not a voiceover actor or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it by downloading the ebook and then having Alexa read it. So
Yeah, I tell you, I'm an audiobook girly. I love a good audiobook, but I'm reading your book physical.
okay, well, great. I'm glad. I'm glad. And I hope you're enjoying it because I had some people, anybody who might notice themselves in the book, I kind of sent them a signed copy. And working on Law and Order, I got to say this before I let y'all go. You know how they got them disclaimers at the top of the show? I put a disclaimer at the top of the book. It says, the following story is fictional and does not depict any actual persons, entities, or events. Because there's a lot of people that might see part of themselves in a character, but no character is one person. It's an amalgamation of person.
Right.
And that's kind of like the way I write. When I create a character, I give the first name of somebody I know, then the last name of somebody I know, and that gives me a place to start as far as their personality. So, but again, I try not to be. Well, I'm still learning. At the end of the day, I'm still learning how to be an author. And I had that, imposter syndrome for a while, but I think everybody gets that. And I've worked with people.
An imposter with 4 books, right?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, though, you still get that. I know people, like I say, A-list award winners, and creative people are the most insecure people breathing. That's all
Yeah,
I. By and
that's
large,
true.
yeah.
No matter how successful you get, you're always going to wonder if it was by accident.
Oh yeah, well I know it's by grace because that's something else I try to tell people too. They had just so few jobs in the entertainment industry. When I was working on
Yeah.
Law and Order, being an assistant film editor, I literally have one of 150 jobs. So worldwide, I'm talking about, just American broadcast television 1 hour dramas is 150 jobs. Now, granted, I had to move to LA and put myself in a position to get that job, but it was God. At the end of the day, that's just got to be divine blessing. And so basically that's something else I try to explain to people too. Is this not a whole lot of jobs in entertainment? They might be
Hmm.
35,000 people worldwide that get paid to write scripts. So you got
Hmm.
5 million people trying to get 35,000 jobs.
There you
But
go.
yeah, it's not like you're driving a bus or even a brain surgeon. How many brain surgeons is it around the world? Probably 300,000-400,000. So being a writer is a fraction of that. So you just gotta know what you're getting into. But I write because I love to write. Have you ever seen Rebel in the Wrath? That movie about J.D. Salinger?
I have not, but I'm going to find it.
Okay, well, he goes in and meets with Kevin Spacey's character, who's his academic advisor, and
Hmm.
basically his academic advisor says, if you don't write for the sake of writing, knowing that people may not read, people may not see your book, you're not a real writer. And I was like, that was pretty interesting. And it was easy for me to glam onto that because I find that to be true. But because I'm
Hmm.
gonna write regardless, I'm gonna write. And again, I just want to get these stories out. So I feel fortunate to have done that, and I'm working on my first. I'm doing a neo noir like detective movie now about a black
Ooh.
detective in D.C. named Cooley, Wilton Cooley.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a former policeman, so I'm having a real good time with that. So I'm hoping I'll have that out in the next year and a half, and hopefully it'll make some noise. But again, I'm just having fun because
All right.
I love film
I was
noir.
just about to say, keep enjoying the process. I mean, I think that's the fun thing about writing that we take for granted,
Man. Well, that's what I tell people,
actual process of writing.
because I've helped a lot of people because a lot of people helped me and along the way. And I just tell them like you
Amen.
gotta, I mean, not to be sacrilegious or anything, but at the end of the day, you like God, you creating the world. I mean, it's literally your world from the people to the animate things to the inanimate things and everything in between. So, it's a good way to just let your imagination flow, you know. But it's
Amen.
also a discipline required, and then you got to do some studying to see what the format is. You know, you got to learn 3 act structure. You got to figure out how many pages is a novel. How many words, because novels aren't really measured in pages; they're measured in words. Just like chapters are measured in words. So,
Hmm.
because my goal is to do between 50 and 80,000 words per per book,
Okay.
and then my chapter length is 2,400 to 3,000 words. Because James Patterson is one of the most successful writers ever, and he's known for his short paragraphs. Now, my
Well,
paragraphs aren't short as his,
I
but
said it before that you are very intentional with everything that you do. For you to have broken that down shows that you are very intentional with how you approach things.
you
All
have
right,
to be.
but Marvin, once again, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm enjoying your book. Once I get it done, I'll give you my complete review. But um, keep writing. I'm really glad to see that you're still in the game. Um, and if I can ever be a support, do not hesitate to say so.